Hey everybody, Zyle here. Welcome back to another episode of Wheezeworts Not Included, except for these three. I managed to have a couple extra seeds, so I was able to augment the Radbolt refueling system. I've got my Steam storage system in place, and I go over a lot of details about what's been going on, and particularly about how I set this whole system up in this video. This is obviously later in the cycle. I'm in the midst of all the geysers being shut down and seeing how my storage will work out. But so far, it is holding up, so it might actually swing me right through. Anyhow, if you liked the video, please feel free to hit the like button. It costs you a grand total of $0. And if you want to subscribe, it would mean the world to me. I'm almost to 50 subscribers. That's my current goal is to get to 50, and you can leave me a comment if you want. Feedback's always appreciated. With that being said, enjoy the episode. All right, so got the rocket storage system installed. It's working very good. Got all the wiring done. So now what we're seeing is all that the geysers are generating, and everything is being fed down into here. This one, same. Got these all set to 500, above 500. And so what should slowly start happening, as we can see here, is if they do back up in use, these will start to fill. And it should happen, because I do not believe for the amount of, with all three geysers going, I doubt that we're burning that much power with the space. And you can see them passing through. So if we check, though, we've already built up some natural gas. So it is slowly accumulating, but we're going to see, because the idea is to hopefully have enough gases stored up so that when we hit where not all three are going, less geysers are going, that there's enough backup supply to keep the generators going. Now, I'm under the impression that we have more natural gas than hydrogen, so we should lean harder into the natural gas use. And so I'm adding one more gas generator, and then the other reason why I will favor natural gas over burning hydrogen whenever possible is, and I may even configure batteries so that it prioritizes the natural gas for the supplying by just adjusting individual batteries to each of these generator systems. The reason why I'm going to do that is because these do generate some water, and it's not much. They will spit out 67.5, but still, with three of them, it's about, let's say 70, right? So it's like maybe 280 grams, 280 or so. That will add to the water, right? Because I'm running it through a system where I'm basically, what I'm doing is taking all that water as it comes in and cleaning it, number one, but then, because I'm using the bathroom water as well, I always keep one tap just to have some backup for the whole system. And I've disconnected this for now because I had to burn some off. It got a bit backed up, but now I can turn this one back on again. And then that will keep this all clear. But I also have this as a storage just in case it gets to be too much. But now it's back in. So because this is polluted, even when it comes out of here, it's still germy. All I'm doing is running it so it comes out this pipe and goes into the steam chamber, and then the steam chamber will heat it up through our aqua tuner. At least that's in theory what should be happening. Doesn't always quite work that way. I might have to reconfigure how I have this set up, because the idea should be is that because this is dormant, this will spit water. Yep, it's working. This will spit water out when it gets hot enough. It turns into steam, and then it converts it back into water, and it's clean water, and then it gets dumped out. So that's the principle of it all, is that we're just using this to purify the water to get rid of the germs. Because germs can't live in steam, right? So that's adding to the water supply, as well as I'm going to continue collecting the water that falls from the sky. I'm going to delete this out and move it down one level lower, and I'm going to let it all drop through here and put a pump here to just collect it up. And all that's going to happen is it will get to a certain level where the layer will be full enough that any new additional, there'll always just be this layer. There's just this, you need a wide open area. But all the additional that falls will actually then push off the side. And so you'll get a point where you'll have enough along here that it's primed, and then anything that drops will just end up coming down here. So we'll capture that water too. I mean, why not? It's fallen from the sky, it's free water, so we might as well. So we're capitalizing on the water that we're making out of the generators. I need to finish this up, of course, before I do that. We're capitalizing on the water that comes from the meteors. We're capitalizing on any excess water the washrooms generate, all in the name of trying to reduce the amount of water that we need, as well as I've been using this setup like I described earlier for a while now, and still monitoring it to make sure that it's doing what it wants to. Actually, you know what's going on here? This vent is no good. We do not want that. Let's set this to 1500. Below 1500. Yeah, so that was a problem. That was from an earlier thing for pressurizing this. And I don't care about this area being pressurized. So what do we got going on over here? This is just filtration. That's right. That's just a base filtration. I'm going to change this around too. This is not very economical for power use, and there's no reason to be running this in this way. So for now, I think the easiest solution with a lot of these little things I did to clean stuff up is just to simply sever it off. It's just wasting power. But I had done that because we had a bunch of buildup of carbon dioxide and chlorine in here, and so. But now it's pretty cleared out. So a lot of this is just temporary. So, yeah, we'll try and capitalize and capture as much water as possible. Still running the geotuners. This thing's dormant, but I'm still running them for now, simply because I moved a lot of materials over here for bleachstone stuff. So we'll probably keep on trying to push this a little bit when it's not dormant to just, again, get a little bit more water. But the ultimate plan I've decided upon, that's pretty much everything we got going on in this space. The ultimate plan I've decided upon, though, is to put in a couple of rad bolt generators in order to refuel a rocket. They land with this. It's been very little, right? So it won't be hard to just top them off of the natural radiation and run a cooling loop and an on-off switch, of course, so that I don't power this unless I'm trying to top it up. But by topping it up, it will allow me to make a trip or two to Watila, where I will go here, and I'll have to change it up and send I'll have to send to Saj, because that's my mechatronics, and then Vader, because he is an amazing builder. And I will send them in a where I can drop them both on the Explorer little pods or whatever. They'll disassemble that, build a landing pad, we'll land the rocket, and then quickly try and wire in a system for firing the water to Solala. And hopefully we get something set up that I can just set and forget. But I'll know more when I get here how much work I need to do. But I'm hoping with those two dupes I can get it wired in place, get it functional, and they don't have to spend like a long time here, because nobody's going to live here. So there is no need to make oxygen systems, anything like that. I just got to figure it out, power system. My understanding is Watila does not get meteor showers at all. And as you can see, it doesn't look like they do, but that's my understanding. This one doesn't. So solar panels is the solution. So I've got to remember, of course, to bring the glass with me and all that kind of stuff. But when I come here, I'll have pretty much figured out what kind of power use I'm going to need roughly, and sort of wire it up so that, because I don't think I'm going to find a power source. And I could do a hydrogen, like use electrolyzers to create hydrogen and vent the oxygen, use that to create power and stuff. But that just means I'm using more of the water. And I could do that, but I'm thinking that solar panels to power everything, basically, get it quickly set up and pump down a little bit low, and then just start firing the water, as well as I got to check and make sure that the water geysers that will be somewhere in the ocean are completely open, so they can continuously keep on generating water, because they will do that. This is a strange setup the way this ocean works, but it will overpressurize. It will not they will not stop because of pressurization unless you block them completely off. So it will continue to try and make water. So even if I stick the pump around here, it's not like it's going to drain the ocean. So I think that's the solution, to have just long-term water supply for the whole operation at Watila. And I honestly believe I can set that up quite quickly and quite easily, as long as I go prepared with the right materials. So I have everyone over here now, just to finish everything off, but a lot of the final little touches are pretty much getting done, and I'm just constantly looking for anything else I need to fix before I get out of here again. But I am feeling very close to being done and being ready to make that mission to Watila and try and set that up.
So, as always, more systems, more problems. So what have been going on? Well, number one, water shortage. We knew this was going to happen. This thing being dormant is adding zero to everything. Of course, the meteor stuff, very little that I'm trying to get. So resorted to a number of things to, just keep that water coming in so that this will stay online. So far, it hasn't dropped. The oxygen is being produced and the plants are alive. So that's good. We are bringing in just squeaking enough in. But then other issues over here. So the biggest mistake I made was originally how I was running my metal refineries was using the polluted water here because I had a lot of it and I didn't need it for anything. As you can see, it's come back online. I've stored a bunch up, starting to store the water up. It's really just used for washrooms, and then sometimes I take it as excess to fire off, which is what I'm doing now, as well as sometimes I take the excess from these systems and fire it off once it's cleaned. The problem is that when I ran out of water from this system, when it went dormant and I used it all to send to the other planet, then my metal refiners, originally I had them set up so that it comes in, it gets used, and then we just vent it off to space because we didn't need it. We weren't reclaiming it. It was super hot, and it just, I had lots of it. So I was like, I just use it to when I make steel or whatever, which is not that often, and I fire it off, okay? But I had run out of that. So instead, what I decided to do was, I'll take some of the cold water that I cool from this system. I'll use that as a coolant. I'll just wire that in. But I forgot that I was firing it off into space. So instead of recycling it back into the system to get cooled again and not lose it, I had been firing it off into space. And then it wasn't a big deal because I wasn't making much steel. But all of a sudden, over on Watila, I needed a lot of steel to build this. This is 1,000 per, and I built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So that was 5,000 steel I suddenly generated. And of course, this thing went berserk and started making it all and firing all that water off into space instead of reclaiming it. So of course, this thing just completely ran out of water while it was dormant. And it's back in 0.8 cycles, so that's good. At least it's about to come back online. Luckily, I had this to fall back on, but this isn't ideal because all this water is super cold, and normally I mix it to the right temperature. So, you can see it's causing a lot of cold, which not bad. Things tend to get warmer, not cooler, so that'll all be fine. But of course, because I ran out of the water over here, all my sleet wheat went offline, as well as all my water weeds, which meant that my frost burgers went offline, which meant that the dupes, of course, resorted back to eating barbecue, which it slowly went offline. And then I suddenly realized I had starvation issues because we were not generating the frost burgers, which is how I amplify my food. And they had just about eaten everything that was available. So luckily I always store excess critters down here, so I was able to kill them off, as well as I just don't need, like this shearing center, for example, if we go look, they produced plastic. I have 625 tons of plastic. I think that's more than I'm ever going to need. And then the other thing they produce is reed fiber. And I have over 1,000 units of reed fiber. I think that's going to be more than I'm ever going to need. So this shearing center is kind of just like ridiculous now. I almost don't even need it, but I just keep it going. Why not? One thing this is really good for is if I ever have a food crisis, there's always usually 20 critters in here. as well as a couple will be hanging out in these rooms as well. So I was able to go in here and slaughter half of them and get a bunch of meat. So some of these systems, even though they're getting redundant, they're great for when I have a food crisis. So I was able to overcome that. Plus I turned on the mush bars as well. So there's no starvation issues. So luckily those systems are working, and everything is about to come back online with this, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to get things back to normal, where the things that are in the space where what it's meant to be used for, it's meant to be used for. I don't like, it's good that I can take water from here and fire it right now to the other planet, but of course that's not the long-term plan, and that's not going to hold up. So the thing is though, is that, in reaction to the water, that because this went offline, then that meant that we weren't really producing the excess sleet wheat. And any sleet wheat that was getting out of any of these systems, out of this system, was being turned into frost buns to make frost burgers, right? Because the berry sludge is a secondary. So now we have no berry sludge. And what that means is with no berry sludge, my rocket systems go offline. So, we have very little berry sludge here, so I can't send my guys back anywhere to Soilala. I can't go to Watila to do that little mission. We check on this one. It has none, so I can't send it off the mine. Not that important. I don't need the stuff it's mining. I have 31 tons of gold, which is the main thing it can go off for, or for algae, and I have 18 tons. So I have lots of that stuff. So it doesn't need to really go anywhere. This one I need to get back in action because I got to get to Watila. But the main one is, of course, is that being able to send this rocket to go to get water whenever I can. So, and not only that, I've been starting to consider to use the other Radbolt rocket, which could reach this helium cloud, to go get water from it, right? By just, adding a liquid storage to it and sending it off. So, but I sent this guy, I took all the berry sludge I had, loaded it up, and I sent him racing off to here to try and get more water to bring back, because that'll help me supply the water to Soilala. And really solve a lot of problems. So he's on an emergency mission. So this game just drives me insane. Like, change one thing, blow up another. If it's not one thing, it's another. I just got done with the power crisis over here. I was getting a whole bunch of stuff wired in, and boom, I get hit by another disaster. One thing I want to show you about this system, though, that you should understand if you're going to use it, that I've come to realize. These things take power, right? And so when they're up and running, meaning if there's packets flowing in or out of them, they're taking 240, right? So now it's not a lot, but the point is that in the entire grand scheme of things, wasting power is never a good idea. So if you were to do the plan like I had, which is take stuff from Geyser, run it through the system, then run it to your generators on a loop. Yes, if it all backs up, you will start to store up the gases. That will work. But the problem is you're going to be using this power constantly because it cycles through it. So you want to avoid that. So the way I've done that, and ignore this. This is an experiment I've been trying to work on, because what I'm trying to figure out is how can you possibly combine packets together, like you get a 500 and a 500 because of the way the gas pumps work, without using two gas pumps. In other words, I don't want to use two gas pumps. That's wasting power. There's got to be I'm trying to figure out a natural way to cause packets to combine, because this whole system would be more efficient if these were all 1,000-gram packets, right? Because what I'm doing here is, as you can see, I was trying to get it so that they would meet up and insert, but it just doesn't work. Like, you can never get this balance properly. I'm going to still fool with it. I've been reading online trying to find some solutions, but I haven't found one yet that doesn't require power to do. So I'm trying to figure out a system that will cause and I know there's going to be a way. There's going to be a way to loop something around and cause packets to merge and go into like 1,000 grams before they exit without having to use power. I'll keep fooling with that, but let's ignore that for now. So what we do here is, so the hydrogen comes out, and then when the first check it makes is here. You have to understand how pipes work. priority goes to where the bridge goes. So what this junction says is, if you can go here, go here. But if you cannot, then you must follow this path, right? So this is priority, this is off flow, and this goes to generators. So it's saying, this is just basically like, hey, if this generator line is full of hydrogen, skip it, because we know that it's got all it needs right now. And so that's what occurs, okay? You can see it bypasses, which is what we want. And then it bypasses down through here, where it will eventually come into here. Okay, and this is a skip, so don't worry about that. But right here is where we want to do another check. Before we're going to go into this system and use power for storage, we want to check one more time, saying, hey, if what also we want is the entire line back up is full before we go into this system. And if this one is totally full, then we'll start trying to save, because it means we really are hitting the max flow, right? So I skip this line, and it tries to insert, and it's the priority, okay? So this one has to be the priority over the storage system. So it's always going to be the one that gets to put its packets out first. So then it's saying, hey, if you can put packets into this line, which you can see is completely full, right? If you can put packets into that line, then you get to do that. So you skip the storage system, okay? So now it's not doing that because this is full, but if it is, it'll insert when it can, right? It skips this system, then it finally goes into storage, all right? And then the outbound is inserted after that check, right? So now the storage is saying, hey, if you're empty and past here, then you should go, and then it will use the gas from the storage only if this line is emptied out and we're not getting the packets here fast enough to cause that to fill up. So that's the basic premise, which is, and then up here, once again, it then comes back up and it inserts secondary to this line. So it's saying always take from the main pump first, but otherwise take from the storage line second. And then this one's saying always try to top up the storage line first before you enter the storage system, because if you do go through here, you're going to cause me I'm going to have to spend power on doing that. And this is not meant to use power. It's meant to back up. When everything is full and backing up, we start saving up, so that if we ever do then start to run short when it goes to dormancy and so on, then this one will start to exit, okay? We do the exact same thing for the natural gas, all right? So here's where it pumps out, and the first thing it does, it checks, do you need some flow up here, right? And it has priority, okay? This line is priority. This is secondary insert. As soon as you tap this in, this will not send packets through unless it can. And you got to realize too, it's not going to be merging some off. At least I don't think it does. I think it really won't add to it unless it's truly can fit one in. It's hard to know. It's hard to know if it is inserting a little bit or not, but regardless, it's reducing the amount dramatically and then causing this line to be full. So this line is full up. I did add, this one blew up. Okay, great. So it's the same kind of principle, and then this line is after an inserting, right? So it will back itself up. And of course, this one says, but if you can't insert here, then go through the secondary, and the secondary, of course, is the one that drops all the way down, and then it rechecks again. Hey, does this line, is it full? If it's not full, then just regurgitate it back into that and keep that full. Otherwise, you can go into the system, and then of course the outflow, the secondary one, then comes back and says, hey, can I insert in? And it's checking after this line, right? So that's kind of how you have to, the best way to wire it in. And the only reason I have two checks is because of the amount of distance involved. We just want to use this storage system as little as possible. We don't want it free flowing through. We want it backing up and saving up. The last one is this vent, and I haven't configured it yet. I am going to configure the insert system as well on it, like I did with the other one. But for right now, it's just flowing in excess secondary in order to help fill the tanks, because I have so much flowing, right? But I do have to wire that in as well, so it does the same thing. So then we can see in the rocket, so far we have stored up 533 kilograms of natural gas and 750 kilograms of hydrogen, right? So it is working. It's starting to save up fuel, but it's not bypassing the fuel. So we're not wasting. We're using as little energy as possible for this system, and then utilizing the system as well. Of course, you can, you don't have to use this rocket system. Each one of these is 11 tons, right? There's lots of other ways. I don't use infinite storage, so please don't comment to say it would be simpler if I use infinite storage. I believe that that's actually an exploit. It's the one exploit that I won't use, right? I'll use pip planning and other things like that, but anything that allows you to do something infinitely, infinite storage, I just don't like it, right? So the other means that you can do, of course, is to use these gas reservoirs. But the problem is they only store 150 kilograms, okay? So that's only 1.5 tons. Or is that even? No, that's not even. So 150 kilograms is so little material. So you would need so many of those tanks if you wanted to start saving up gases, whereas these hold 11 tons. So it's far, far superior for storage for the way I'm doing things, right? So that's kind of like the explanation of that, of how I'm making that system be as efficient as possible. So anyways, hopefully I can get things sort of back stabilized, and I can get back towards the primary mission of going to Watila and trying to get into that base. Now, one thing I'd say is, this rocket design, I have used this so much for so long, and it works so good. I am so glad that I came up with this design and perfected it, because this has been instrumental for me conquering the other asteroids. Being able to send 2 dupes per rocket to go live out of the rocket and do all sorts of work like they've been doing. We're talking about, I've probably had these things going for like 1,000 cycles now, and they have been over here all the time, and they work very, very well as long as you pay attention, don't run out of food or oxygen in them. And having 2 of them, I wish I had 3 of them, honestly. It just allows you to do the work on the other asteroids without having to build a base for those dupes to live out of as a preliminary, and they can just go off and do work and get it done and leave when they have to. So and once again, now that I'm knowing I'm going to have to go and expand to Watila and build stuff there, knowing I have these systems is going to make it so much easier. And then as well, there's going to be another planet, I believe it's this one. I'm not entirely sure if it is this one or no, I think it's this one. I'm going to have to go to this one, and I think the tree is here for isoresin. So that'll be another one where I'm going to land, set all the stuff up that I have to set up, not even make a base, and then I'll be able to start doing the isoresin harvesting. But that's going to be at a much, much later date that I can get to that. And it's the same thing. I think it's too many tiles away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's more than 10, right? So it'll be the same thing. We're probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, where I'm going to have to come here, fuel up the rad bolts a little bit further, and then I can get down to here. Now, the only other solution I can come up with, of course, would be to start to get into hydrogen engines, right? That's a lot of work, though, and I'm not sure if I want to get into that right now, making a hydrogen food fueling system and doing hydrogen rockets. It is a lot of work to set up, and I think it's just simpler, honestly, to make Soila almost like a fueling station where they can land here. I'm going to build the rad bolt generator system down lower because I had it up high, but of course, as soon as the rocket took off, it burned out everything. So it's got to be lower so it doesn't, I don't burn all the materials and automation wire up and stuff like that. So I'll build it down here and fire it up like that. But yeah, I may end up putting in both of them. And so that whenever they're here, they just get topped up from that system slowly. I mean, it'll make a stepping stone to the other planets. Hey, wow. You made it to the end of the video. I'm very impressed. For being such a loyal viewer, here's a sneak peek at what's going to happen in the next episode. We're going to head off to Watila and build this. That's right. You're seeing what the whole next episode is going to lead to. I documented, and I'm going to have a great video basically going over how I arrived here, built this all up, really scored down all into it, and then had to head out because we ran out of food. So I appreciate anyone who watches in the videos. I think I'm going to start putting in sneak peeks at the end for those who stick with it for more than 5 minutes. So if you came this far and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It really helps. But certainly hit that like button and leave me a comment. I try to reply to all the comments, and anything that anyone does to help me grow my channel, I really appreciate. So that being said, have a great day. Thanks for watching.